world is collapsing and expanding simultaneously. The waves of change are upon us. No one is exempt. It doesn't matter your caste or creed, your nationality, nor your religion. You are being called to make a decision. You need to choose. What side of history will you play? Do you destroy or protect our future? With every choice you make, you decide what side you play. Choose. You must. The responsibility is yours. And here's the thing. It's not about you. It's about us.
Good morning, Antigua Volcano Summit. I hear I'm in the room with a lot of disruptors. Is that true? I'm also a disruptor. I'm here to disrupt hierarchy and the misuse of power. I'm here to liberate the authentic genius for the next generation leaders. Because we're living at a time where there's a lot of crisis. We have to sit with uncomfortable situations. We have to sit with our pain and our frustration in order to emerge into who we are and to what we're made of. Each one of us is so much more than our brain, so much more than we think we are. So my quest for tapping into my human potential started at a very, very young age. I remember being 6 years old and hiding in my room, terrified of what was happening in my house, closing my ears and praying that my sister's screams in the other room would stop. Yeah. Inside my house was difficult. And outside my home, in my community, in the church that I grew up in, there was a lot of secrets also, things that we didn't speak about, that my sister and I had to keep between ourselves and cry ourselves to sleep. How did I survive? I walked in nature and I prayed. I prayed a lot. Some of you might have experienced different challenges in your life where you needed to pray. And as a little girl, I dug deep. I walked and I prayed for miracles. I prayed that God would somehow stop the bad people misusing their power. I prayed that we would be saved. And there was one Bible verse that gave me solace. It said, "Your faith has the power to move mountains." I held on to that verse my whole life. I used it to cultivate an energy inside myself that carried me through some really difficult times. When adults would ask me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I used to tell them, "It hasn't been designed yet." But I'll tell you when I figure it out. They laughed at me, they mocked me. "Oh, you think you're all that." And I said, "No, but I'm going to stop whatever this is. I don't want to continue this." I could see that all those abusers were also abused. They were just doing what had been done to them, and they couldn't seem to stop it. When I was in my early 20s, I started having mystical experiences. I woke up one morning and I just knew what I was here to do. I knew it. I knew what the future held. And I co-founded one of the first web design companies in the world. The more I used this mystical energy to guide my work, the more doors opened. I found myself Suddenly working on developmental projects with Microsoft and other corporate leaders. I found myself working with the best engineers in the world. How? I didn't have any degree in computer science and business. I wasn't a coder, but I knew something and I used that information to create a different world. Suddenly, I found myself working on the first instances of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And while working with the most incredible minds on the planet, I saw that sometimes they were making decisions that were impacting millions of people in a bad way. It disturbed me deeply. I went searching even more. I started to wonder, does power corrupt? Is it when you get power that you just do bad things? But then I realized, no, it's what we haven't healed that's getting revealed and getting misused. So I started finding teachers that could help me harness my energy because I was terrified that I would be like my mother or her mother or all those men that did bad things. How do we stop this madness? There was a day in one business meeting of the tech company. We were growing really fast, and I hired a woman that was 20, 25 plus years older to me. And in that meeting, I found myself in an interesting situation. She just made a comment like, you need to be here at 9 in the morning. And I said, excuse me? Do you know who I am? I hired you. I think I dropped a few F-bombs in there and told her to F off and stormed out of the room. She cried. She didn't come to work for a few days. The HR got involved. It was like, Aeon, what are you doing? And I got scared of myself. And I said, oh my God, how did I speak to an elder like that? I never spoke to an elder like that. What is happening to my ego? And it was in that moment, that was a turning point for me. And I started seeking leadership development and counseling. And I said, oh my God, I need to heal. Like, I think I'm taking my aggression out on my mother, on her, in the workplace. But then I saw everybody's doing it. Everyone's doing it. And the workplace is toxic and people are crying and having difficult situations, right? So my search for the human potential went far and wide. I found mystics and masters, yogis, shamans, indigenous elders, and I said, what is this energy? I don't know what I'm carrying, but it kind of scares me. I don't want to talk about it. I definitely am not going to say anything in the business meeting that my information comes from these dreams I'm having. We know that inside of a business meeting, it can be a bit scary to be vulnerable, right? My journeys took me all over the world. I ended up in Japan. A top economist asked me to be his business partner. And I thought, really? How is this happening? Will my powers somehow dry up and stop? I was scared that I don't know what was going to happen to me. The next, I found myself in India, working with royal families and gurus. They put me on stage and asked me to teach and share my mystical knowledge with the crowd. Right after doing it, they took me backstage and they said, stop liberating them. Aren't we here to activate the human potential? Aren't we here to find our genius and express our light? And they said, no, no, no. We need them. We have a political agenda. They told me that. Needless to say, our relationship did not end well. As a disruptor, I've had a lot of challenges in this field, as you can imagine. People who misuse power don't like being called out on it. But what guides me is how do we activate our potential and have it be incorruptible? So I started gathering people around me, people with love in their hearts, people who knew that we're here to create a beautiful future. I started creating councils and think tanks and people who would keep me in check and that we could support each other. So I want you guys to imagine something with me. Can you play that? Just join me in this imagination.
Close your eyes and take a deep, relaxing breath. Feel yourself anchoring into this present moment. The majestic volcanoes surround us, the ring of fire beneath us. Connect yourself to this magical landscape of rich history and culture. The ancient Cachiquel, the Mayan kingdom of Ixinche, the valley of Canchoy, a city which has a potency and a resiliency like no other, a hub for productivity and abundance for all of Central America, an ideal bridge. Breathe in, breathe out. Let us learn from this sacred land about disasters and resilience. I want you to imagine with me a new reality where the change agents, the innovators and disruptors like you have all succeeded. Imagine the solutions to the problems we face arising out of the rubble. Imagine masterful collaborations, think tanks and experts from every sector working together in teams, providing solutions that build this new golden age upon us. You are needed at the table. Your light, your love for humanity, your strength and resilience to conquer your fears, your ability to lead with love for the right cause is needed here. Open your eyes. Look around you. This is the new world rising.
You guys, business leaders, I think you're the most important people on the planet right now. The power that we have and the energy that we have to use our genius through our business, I believe is more important than whatever the government's doing. It's you guys. So will you activate your capacity? Will you tap your potential? Will you be extraordinary? Thank you. I'm happy to take questions. Anybody want to share? I am gathering extraordinary leaders from every industry who are ready to co-create, who are wanting to collaborate and focus on different issues and how we can bring our genius together. If you would like to, I don't know how to change this. Oh, there we go. If you would like to be in touch with me, you can scan this code. I would love to meet you. I would love to know what you're working on. I would love to help you grow your dreams. Any questions? Comments? It's so beautiful to see the potential here. Thank you, Janma, for bringing us together. We're living in really intense times. It's not always fun, right? We're all being pushed and squeezed into who we are here to become. Our challenges help us find our gifts. Yes?
Thank you for your time being here. I have a quick question regarding on how do you manage people whose traits and talents fall on something that you have no knowledge of? For example, artificial intelligence, and you said you have no education regarding the computer science, but you still manage people and that
It's
That fell under that,
mysterious,
yeah.
isn't it? When we start to cultivate our innate genius, there's ancient practices that open you to who you are, your innate abilities. So although I didn't have a background in computer tech, I just understood machines and machine learning. I understood the future we wanted to create, and I understood the applications. And each day, I would get the next step. So I was always worried that I wouldn't get the next step. If my ego got involved, I couldn't see what the next step was. And I would try and figure it out with my mind. And then I was having to step back and wait and listen. So it's deep listening. And it comes through knowing, not knowledge. We're so much more than our brain can even fathom. When we tap into our soul wisdom and allow our light to shine from our heart, a different kind of wisdom comes through. And it's grounded and authentic. Thank you. That was a beautiful question. Anybody else want to ask a question? I have almost 5 minutes left. Yeah.
Thank you. How do we activate those knowledge, or how do we open ourselves to be able to receive?
So the first is faith, right? To know. And all of you feel the potential in you, right? I think that's why we're leaders. That's why we have our business. That's why many of you are visionaries. Many of you know that you're here to do something more than you can think about, but you feel it, right? So getting in touch with that feeling, let that feeling become a yearning so strong that nothing else matters, that you will fulfill that yearning. And then you will be surprised at the magic and the synchronicities and the people who come along your path to help you activate that and mentor you into developing it. But it's deep listening and faith. And of course, there's many tools and practices. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could elaborate a little bit on signs that we could look for to understand whether sort of warning signs that we are maybe veering off the path and allowing our egos or traumas to get in the way, and signs of knowing that we're heading in the right direction.
That's an amazing question. Yeah, for me, I put people around me that speak truth. For me, being around peers, being around other leaders is imperative to keep me on track. People that I trust, that understand who I am and what I'm here to do, that will question me, that will challenge me. It's really important. As leaders, it's very easy to be the smartest in the room. It's very easy to surround yourself with people less than you, and you start to grow a superior complex. This is dangerous, really, really dangerous, and you will feel very alone, very alone. And when crisis comes, it's difficult. I went through 9 years of shamanic initiations to sit with the pain and the suffering that I faced. And whenever I found myself out of line, it was signs like I explained with the business meeting, where I didn't know who I had become. Suddenly, my anger was outside myself and no longer inside. When I have deep emotional crises, these are moments where you need support and you have to ask for help. And all leaders don't think they need help, right? Their secret fear is that they don't know how to figure it out. But I can tell you that the crisis coming, you won't know how. You're not going to know how. You need each other, and you need your heart. You need your heart to lead with your humanity. Technology is being stripped of love. It's all brain, right? We can do this better, that better. But what's happening to our heart? So pay attention to yourself. Take time. Are you too busy? Do you have time in your day to just sit in nature? Do you have time to relax? These are signs you need to check yourself and be with peers. Do not isolate yourself with just your employees. Any other questions? I have 1 minute. Yes, beautiful. Can you mic her?
In your career, do you think you've accomplished what you wanted?
Oh, I'm just getting started. Thank you. That is a beautiful question. I'm just getting started. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's beautiful to be here.